Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Zero number 8150S-BK. This is a piece of black silicone self-adhesive gasketing from Zero, and this has a particular profile to it. Um, the profile seems to be slightly different than their technical drawing. Well, not really. They're they're presenting this two different ways. They're presenting it with the second flap at a V, like the bottom flap, and then in the cross section, they're showing it the way that it is exactly here. You've got three of these fins, increasingly longer, that stand together, and then one that opposes them, basically. And, you know, the engineering behind the Zero product line was exceptional because there was a substantial amount of very deep thinking when it came to how to solve problems. So what I'm driving at is, what do you need to really seal a door? You know, you need something making contact with something else. Well, what Zero has always done is created that sort of solution, but done so in such a way where you have substantial amount of surface area. You've got solid separated by airspace, separated by solid, separated by airspace. You've got the ability to have the weather stripping contend with gaps between the doors that might be a little bit tighter, and this material will certainly fold down, or even a little bit greater, where you've got these longer fins out here. Okay, they use 3M brand adhesive, and if you have any experience with adhesive, you probably have experience with failed adhesive. I do, and I have personally installed this material. I have personally used adhesive for projects that were personal in nature, and I have found that 3M manufactures the best adhesive available. Period. I have put stuff up with 3M adhesive that, you know, the material itself rips apart rather than the adhesive bond breaking. So something crucial like a piece of weather stripping like this that is dependent on its adhesive holding it to the frame, or however you're applying it. I've seen this material applied in lots of different ways. People have bought it and put it on doors just because they want to close off the gap. They've got a heavy gap between two doors. Well, something adhesive like this, that's the dimensional properties will suit their needs, and super easy to install. Suits the problem, suits the application very well. But where it's intended to go on to is, of course, you know, commercial steel doors, commercial steel frames, wood doors naturally, and steel frames. And the point of the matter is the 3M adhesive is, in my experience, and Zero will tell you the same thing, as will other manufacturers of weather stripping who use 3M, they're the best, is the bottom line, the best. So the overall width of the base of the material, they have it at 0.5 inch. Let's take a look at that. I would say that'd be spot on, 0.503 inch. A 3/8 total gap. Yeah, I'm getting 0.445. Yeah, sure. Fold that down a little bit, and it'll certainly be at 3/8, but it's a bit heavy on 3/8. Just over 0.44 inch. Will certainly compress down fairly small. You know, if I had a gap between the door of a 1/16 of an inch, I wouldn't use this material. But a typical 1/8 of an inch, I'd see no problem at all in getting that to work very well. Okay, and again, that all that surface area really serves to give you multiple contact with the door and the frame on two different sides. Very likely, you're going to make some contact with the very corner of the door, small amount of contact with the elevation of the door on the push side, as well as the style. Installing this material is easy, but it does take understanding that the adhesive, while it is superior, does require a clean, dry, fully cured paint surface area that is free of particulates. It has to be utterly clean. Once you think it's clean, I suggest go back and clean it a second time. If you install this material and you've cleaned the frame and you put it on and it's come off, that's because the frame hasn't really hit the criteria of being utterly clean. So if you have painted it, make sure that paint's cured at least a week. If you have stained that wood frame, Make sure it's cured at least a week. Even rough it up a little bit with a Scotch-Brite pad to give it some surface area, but then make sure it's completely clean and free of debris. If you can run your finger down it and see anything on your finger, that's way too dirty. You can also, and is standard practice in certain other adhesive product, is to use an alcohol wipe to clean off that surface area as well. So spend as much time as possible making sure that frame is clean. Also spend as much time as possible of getting this straight on the frame. There's nothing but straight lines on this against your rabbet of your frame, the inside corner of your stop face in your rabbet, your stop face as well. They'll tell you to peel off a couple feet of this. Well, I don't like working with that much because I have a tendency to pull it too tight. It'll stretch. You don't want to stretch the material at all because it will resume its natural elasticity and possibly break the bond. A shorter length I like because I'm just then pushing rather than trying to pull it straight. And with a little bit of patience and doing a couple of them, you'll get the material put down nice and straight. So patience is the key with this material, beyond having an utterly clean surface area to apply it to. There's a link below this video to the document called Product Brochure, and let's take a look at that. Okay, so the link to the product brochure was right there on the right side. And this pulls up a lot of all of the classic designs from Zero in terms of their profile. And just going over this material quite quickly. The teardrop shape that you see here, the most common design, there's no question. They do have the same teardrop shape in a smaller size, and I like that because this will work better when your margin between the door and frame is a bit tighter. If you've got a full 1/8 of an inch and nothing beyond that, obviously if it's a fire-rated door, use the regular 1/88. If it's a little tight, sub 1/8 of an inch, go with this smaller 488. Okay, it's a little thinner wall material. It will compress a little bit more. And these are all both very common. What you're seeing here is, and here's the legend in terms of the finish. Okay, so when we're looking at these different items, you'll see the different finishes listed here, or different colors. Okay. Looking at the rest of these profiles, here's obviously our 8150. This double batwing design, that's fairly common as well. We don't sell the 8160 very often, but I sure like the design because I'm really making contact with two surface areas on the door and the frame. This V style, the 117, that's a common design as well. And they all work very well in the sense of sealing the material. But I think really what you'll use as a judgment is, are your dimensional properties going to be accommodated? Can you fit the material in? Is there anything about your installation that requires that you install something particular rather than any of these? Why would you choose the 188 over the 8150? Why you might choose it is because that's what's already on the job, or the most common, or the one that you're familiar with. Certainly there's no doubt about it. But I always will opt for additional surface area when possible, especially on two different faces of the door. Okay, so I find that to be a really powerful way to be able to capture or retard the transmission of particulate through the opening. So be mindful of that. If you had that smaller opening, I'd consider that 8042 as well. This will compress down. The 117 will compress down very small as well. They're all exceptional. Let your dimensional properties drive you. Also possibly the cost. You might just simply need, a white color, and you're going to have to select the only ones that are available in white. So that will obviously limit your choices. There. On that same page, there are some shapes, some self-adhesive neoprene shapes. These are generic pieces of equipment that I have used in a variety of different applications for weather stripping of a window, some unusual application. I have sold material like this for a client to be able to help them seal the truck cap on the bottom of that truck cap as it sits into the bed of the pickup truck to help keep the water out. Generic applications, and this material is generally sold per foot. Something here may only be available in a 50-foot roll, and it might be the 860. It might be this model here, the 800 series here. Now, finally, there is a link below this video, and it's right here, and we'll talk about that now. And that will take you to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Zero products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you have any questions on the Zero, this is their part number 8150S in a BK finish, which is black, and it's available in lots of different lengths. This just happens to be a 96-inch length that this client purchased, but it's in the site in lots of lengths. You know, you might say, well, I don't need 8-foot lengths or 60-inch lengths. I need 100 feet. Okay, so order 60-inch lengths, and then indicate in the comment field that you would like us to, you know, order 20 of those, and then indicate in the comment field you'd like for us to ship it as a continuous roll in 100-foot length, and we'll be happy to oblige. Any questions on the Zero number 8150 BK or any other Zero product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.